After Mexican General Martín Perfecto de Cos surrendered to the Texan rebels after a defeat in San Antonio de Bejar in December of 1835, his brother-in-law, General and President Antonio López de Santa Anna, vowed to avenge this defeat and personally led a force of over 6,000 men to put an end to this rebellion in Texas once and for all. When Santa Anna arrived in San Antonio on February 23, 1836, the rebels in the town scrambled to the fortified mission less than a mile from the town of San Antonio, a mission known as the Alamo. Santa Anna sent an ultimatum to the Alamo defenders, demanding unconditional surrender or the garrison would be put to the sword if the fort should be taken. This demand was answered with a cannon shot, beginning the 13-day siege of the Alamo. For 12 days, the Texan rebels had endured light skirmishes, lack of rest, and continual bombardment from the besieging Mexican army under Santa Anna. They even received reinforcements of 32 men from the town of Gonzales, Texas on March 1st. However, on the 13th day, March 6, 1836, Santa Anna decided to bring the siege of the Alamo to an end. Before dawn, the Battle of the Alamo had begun, and after 90 minutes, the battle was over, and all Texan and Tejano rebels in the fort were dead. The game, Alamo No Small Affair, will be played on a 7-foot by 8-foot table with 25mm units featuring a diorama of the Alamo mission of the same scale. There are approximately 189 Texan units at the disposal of the Texan players, while all 4 Mexican columns combined have a total of 600 units at their disposal. The rules for the game are brought to you by this game's creator, Ronald Elizondo. Everything from the rules, the units, and the diorama itself was hand-built and painted by Ron himself. For this game, General Cos would attack the east wall, Romero will attack the south and southwest corner, Morales will attack the north wall, and finally Duque will attack the west and northwest corner. In order for the Texans to win, they must survive all 13 rounds with at least 4 Texan units and 1 hero unit, or inflict at least 600 casualties to the Mexican assault force. This would be 1/3 of the historical 1,800 men that were sent to attack the Alamo on March 6. If none of these conditions happen, the Mexican players win the game. Now, let's get to the game. As the first round commences, the Texans awaken and begin to fire down on the charging Mexican columns. Morales and Romero's men did not achieve the element of surprise as Duque and General Cos's troops had done. To achieve the element of surprise, each Mexican player must roll a 1 through 3 on a 6-sided die. This will let their own columns start 4 inches away from the Alamo walls, letting them return fire on their turn. If they roll a 4 through 6, however, their column must start 8 inches away from the Alamo walls. Unlike the Texans, who can roll a 1 through 4 to inflict Mexican casualties, Mexican units in each group perform volley fire. But since they are equipped with Brown Bess muskets and not the Kentucky long rifle, like the Alamo defenders, not to mention they will be firing on Texan defenders behind cover as well. They must roll a 1 in order to inflict a Texan casualty and also be in range. It's not until round 4 when the Mexicans start to place the first ladders against the Alamo walls. However, the Mexicans will need to overcome the defenders on top of the walls as well. At the east wall, General Cosa's men are only able to scale the northeast section. There are a few defenders, including Captain Dickinson, on a 2-story building on the east wall, managing to fire upon some of the Mexican units that have scaled this part of the wall. Further down the east wall, however, they have been managing to hold off the Mexicans, but slowly but surely, the Mexicans have been depleting the defenses at this section as well. Only time will tell how long the defenders can hold out. Meanwhile, on the other side of the south wall, the Mexicans have started placing ladders at this section as well. With only one defender left on the southwest corner, there was little obstacle for the Mexicans to start scaling the walls. At the north wall, the Mexicans have been able to scale the cannon rampart section of this wall and have managed to take out the 2 remaining defenders stationed there. However, Travis is able not only to fight off the 2 Mexican units that have managed to scale the walls, but also with a good die roll has managed to push off the ladder as well. Unfortunately, committing to these actions will deplete his movement and firing abilities for that turn, leaving him standing alone at the top of the wall and at the mercy of the Mexican soldiers below. On the Mexican player's turn, a volley fire makes an accurate hit, and Travis falls at the north wall garrison, making him the first hero unit casualty of the game. Things are about to get even worse for the defenders on the south wall. Due to a lucky roll, the Mexicans have now breached the southern gate. Unlike the scaling of ladders, which can move 4 units at a time, breaching any of the 2 barricades in the Alamo mission allows the Mexican player to spill into the Alamo with as many Mexican units that can advance. With 3 areas of the south wall breached, not to mention the fall of the north wall, the defenders have no choice but to retreat to the Alamo Chapel for their last stand. However, they will try to defend in front of the chapel as long as possible to buy time for the defenders in the chapel to prepare themselves. It's here in front of the Alamo Chapel that Davy Crockett falls alongside a few men under his command. Being a hero unit, he is granted a +2 bonus on hand-to-hand combat, managing to inflict a few Mexican casualties before being overwhelmed. All that is left is the last small group of men along with James Bonham inside the Alamo Chapel, and it's the start of round 10. Surprisingly, the Texans inside the chapel have managed to hold off the Mexicans for 2 rounds. Unfortunately, however, Bonham and the last remaining men under his command in the Alamo Chapel have fallen at the end of round 12. This was a close game and could have gone in favor for the Texan side, but the breach of the southern gate may have tipped the balance, which allowed more and more Mexican units to overwhelm the Alamo walls. However, once we added up the casualties of the sustained Mexican forces, it came to exactly 664 casualties. The Texans may not have lasted all 13 rounds of the game, but they managed to inflict at least 1/3 casualties of the Mexican assault force, just as they had done historically, letting them win a close, honorable victory. I want to thank Little Wars TV for this quick strike presentation opportunity for myself and other fellow wargamers to share a bit of their own wargaming history. Remember the Alamo.